Hey everyone, welcome to a Skarner game. And Skarner is generally a jungler. There are very rare occasions where you'll see him maybe in the top lane, but his lack of a gap closer makes it very, very tough to be in top lane. And also because he's only melee and he doesn't have very much burst damage. He's more there for the surprise effect and then giving some support sustain damage and giving a little bit of a slow. So I'm not going to go too much into it because I mean he's there to jungle, to farm, and to pull people into the team, which is actually one of his coolest things about him. But I'm not going to go too long with this, but let's get right into it. Hey everyone, welcome to a jungle Skarner game, and Skarner is being done by Cowboy Novocaine, not Novocaine, Novocaine, and in terms of jungling, Skarner is very, very good in the low, mid ELO ranges because he just gets so tanky and does so much damage with the right build that he kind of becomes unstoppable if you let the game progress past 25 minutes. But as you get higher up in ELO, he's not as strong because people kind of they know how he works. They expect things. They know that if you kind of shut him down early and prevent him from hitting 6 till a little bit later, he's going to be really hard to snowball his own team. So he's generally not picked as much because even though he has a fast jungle clear, he's very, very mana intensive. He had some changes, but they kind of reverted them in terms of mana cost on his abilities. But more or less, you need a big early advantage to perform with Skarner well and not get invaded much. So let's go through the team comp. And we've got Caitlyn as the AD, very high range, very good poke. Soraka, going to be able to keep Caitlyn, who's going to be sitting far back and farming a lot, just kind of sustaining her mana and letting her spam Q. Then we got Skarner, we already went through. Nidalee, going to be top lane, hasn't even bought yet, but Nidalee, extremely annoying top lane, very strong against many champions. And then Ahri, who the third of her damage is true damage and very annoying AP mid. And they're going to be going against Anivia, who, unless you're Froggen, I believe Ahri does counter Anivia, and Froggen counters everything with Anivia. Shen top, I think we did a Shen game, and he can be very, very strong, depending on the playstyle and how effective you are with his abilities. Then we have Draven. So this is a very recent game because Draven's been out for about a week. But in my opinion, Draven, I think he's pretty weak as long as you get some sort of slower CC on him so he can't keep catching his Qs. And now here's the quintessential lower ELO person where they pick a pretty crappy role like the support Kale with heal clarity. Support Kale can be really good, but where's the flash? Like, what are you doing? Heal clarity. That's just someone that's kind of trolling around a bit. Even though they had a skin, I saw a skin in the loading screen. Like this is the problem of the 12 to 1400 ELO range. Like someone will think that they know what they're doing, they play ranked, and they kind of just screw over the rest of the team, and they hope to get carried. And then they have Teemo, who looks like he's going to be the AD, almost counterpicking himself because I believe Caitlyn has almost 200 range on him, maybe 150. So she's going to be able to outpoke Teemo big time. Anyway, let's get right into it. I think I'm going to speed through this. Yeah, wow. Speed through this a little bit. See if this game doesn't bug out anymore.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
So you can see in rank games, people tend to cover a little bit more. They saw Teemo hiding right here, so if Caitlyn just drop a trap, could easily get a lot of poke on him.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
And another thing to notice is it seems like there is no jungler. No jungler whatsoever. Well, for the other team. So I made a huge mistake on the analysis of the other game where I said Teemo's gonna be the AD. I talked about Draven, about how I don't like him, and I just kind of ignored him. Draven's probably gonna be the main AD, and Teemo will be the support with his blinding dart. Very, very strong anti-AD ability, so that'll be pretty nice, but I do believe that even though double AD is kind of a counter to heal AD support. I don't think that's going to be terribly effective simply because of the range of Caitlyn. So not starting at wolves for some reason. Definitely had enough time to get the wolves done, and Ahri could help with damage. So going straight for blue, which will automatically put you behind in your jungle. Not that big of a deal, but in terms of Skarner, who you really want to rush to 6 more or less, trying to throw in a gank here or there, definitely want to try to get as much speed as you can. So now they don't have a jungler. Kale top with Shen. So that's going to be a pain in the ass for Nidalee, even though she does have a ranged auto attack. So now we're getting to the wolves. See, this could have been done almost a minute ago. So you could have just finished Wraiths and been on to red or golems, or my preferred route is Wraiths Wolves. After you go Wolves Blue, Wraiths, Wolves Red, because golems you kind of take a little too much damage. They take too long to kill. Slowly going through the farm. I'm going to speed through this a little bit. I'm going to talk about his setup. So, generally how to play Skarner. You want to get some attack speed, reds. You can go attack speed or AD. I think attack speed's just better because it helps lower his cooldowns. Get armor yellows, which he has, and get some more armor from the from masteries. Looks like he's got a little bit of either scaling or flat magic resist blues. It looks probably like scaling. And then I doubt that there are move speed quints, but I do love move speed quints on Skarner. He starts with the Regrowth Pendant because he does enough damage. He doesn't need the armor health pots to sustain as much, because the Regrowth Pendant is just enough to get through the first clear, so he can go back and get his Philosopher's Stone, which he just bought. So level 4, we've got 1 point in his W, 2 in the Q, and 1 in the E. The E, it does heal. I am not a fan of the ability in the slightest. I tend to not take it until my Q and W are maxed. I don't take it pretty much until I'm forced to take it. I prefer to have the damage, the slow, and the shield instead of a very small heal. And another thing, when I jungle Skarner, I think I generally prefer getting 3 points in my shield, just because it takes a little bit longer to break. So you get that buff almost in its entirety until the creep break it, and then start working on the Q. So I will go, I'll start with Q, down at the wolves in blue, then get the shield at 2. At these rates, I believe I hit 3, and that's when I get 1 more point in the shield. Then I can go to red. So I can do red with my 2nd point in shield and walk out with maybe half to 3/4 health after using the health pot. And that allows me to pretty much gank right off the bat. So that's a little thing you want to think about, because you could have definitely easily ganked top or mid, right? If not off the bat, but pretty close to it.
You have been slain.
Look at me not paying attention because I'm just kind of thinking and getting picked off by Nivea mid. Giving her that red buff, which is going to be pretty terrible for Ahri. Because Nivea's got a decent bit of range, so she can just sit there and poke Ahri. Poke, 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 poke. And be very, very annoying with that red buff. Now look at your gold. I'm even going to pause this. You just died. 614 gold. What is this? Why are you walking out with nothing? If you're going to go double gold per 10, 475 ruby crystal. And then, I believe you can pick up a ward, possibly 2. I mean, that's just, you don't need wards as much, but people will still roam even when there's no jungler. So farming, blah, 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 blah. Very farm heavy early game. So now we're 6 on Skarner. Now the trick with Skarner is getting flash. Because what you do is you can ult, but you can't flash after you ult. So what you want to do, in a lot of cases, is to surprise the enemy before they can flash, or catch them as they're flashing, is running them a little bit, flashing, using your ult, and then pretty much mashing that W key so you can turn right around and run away. Get them as far away from a turret or from safety as possible. So now it seems like getting another point in the queue. It does give him a little bit more of a slow, but it's better to have the increased attack speed and shield right here. Getting an ult off on Shen with no effort at all. Free kill. Sitting on 1,500 gold. That's quite a bit of dough. So I'm guessing that you just go back right after this and go buy. Not going back to buy for some strange reason. I don't see any communication going on between the teams, so I don't even think you can really gank that much because Shen with his dash and a Philosopher's Stone. Man, things you see at 1200 ELO. Not used to that. Anyway, definitely should have gone back to buy, gotten that heart of gold, because even though you have 1600 gold, more gold. More gold is always good. And probably tier 2 of boots as well. Speed through the farming again. And now, here's a big thing about Skarner. His abilities, his Q has a really, really low cooldown. His W's got a moderate cooldown. His E is worthless to me. But his ult's got a, I'd say an average cooldown. But with his passive, if you look, all basic attacks lower ability cooldowns by half a second, double the effect of protecting champions. So now with that ult, kind of clicking around in circles, definitely would have, I know I kind of interrupted myself there, but definitely would have been better to, I'm going to ignore the fighting. You're clicking around in here, and what should have happened was instead of clicking around, bop, 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 look at that, kind of clicking in circles, better to just go click once for the tower, get as far as you can, then right before it breaks, what you want to do is you want to click this way. You want to click opposite of the direction you're going, because when the ult pops, the champion will be dropped wherever Skarner's tail is. Wherever the far point of Skarner's tail is. So, with that'll give you an extra Skarner length. 2 Teemos approximately. That's a bit of a Reddit joke. But, like a full Skarner body length that Shen has to run even more. So now we finally have the Heart of Gold, and then getting Sheen. Sheen is an incredible item on Skarner, because he has a pretty high base AD, so every auto attack, since he's such a spammy champion, I was going to be doing, at the moment, 194 damage per Sheen proc. It's pretty nice. Flashing for no real reason there. Even though I am fast forwarding, there's still no good reason to flash. Just kind of going almost half free reign on the jungle, except for the fact that it seems like Draven's kind of doing his own thing in there.
Your team has
So you're kind of hovering on top, but mid's already pretty fed. So it definitely is better to, yep, there you go right for Nivea. And I'm speeding through this because the action isn't as important as the decision making. Because I'm not seeing many wards. You know that they've been kind of clearing their own jungle. So it's nice to see where they are as you do it. So getting a ward on this tri-bush should be nice. Getting a ward. A lot of people like to ward here. But I've been learning as I've been playing that, yeah, it's nice to get right at the entrance here because then you can see if like they're running towards this way. But you can get the same field of vision if you place it right down here. I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. Right in this little area, because what happens is it gives you vision right up to this point here, so you can tell if they're running down. At the same time, you can see if there's someone hooking around from the red buff and if they're coming into this bush or coming out of this bush. With the ward here, I know a lot of pros do that, but it gives you only a very little bit of information. Right in this, maybe even here, that's still not that much when you can see if they're doing wraiths or if they're running over to red or bot.
Team has destroyed a turret.
So speeding through again. This is going to be a pretty quick game. I think the fighting is all fine. I'm not a fan of the ult right there. Definitely could have started fighting him first, and then once your team caught up, ulted, and then started right back into your team, but got the double kill anyway. So now here's something to think about. How do you build Skarner? Generally, the way you want to build Skarner is more of a, like, I'll rush double gold per 10, and then possibly get a Sheen. But if you're playing Skarner, you're going to be right in the mix of everything, so if you're going to be squishy and rush a Triforce, you're not going to be that effective in the middle of a team fight. So my favorite items for Skarner are, they're generally, it's pretty much nothing here in the recommended actually, except for the Sheen. I will go Frozen Heart. Cooldown reduction is tremendous on him, mana, and a ton of armor. One of the best armor items in the game. And then after that, let's go to the magic resist department. A Wit's End is very, very strong on him. A lot of attack speed, a lot of magic resist, just constantly putting on his damage. Because also, on his Q, as long as his Q is up, every single attack does an additional 72 plus whatever AP you have. So 72 plus 10 magic damage on top of his auto attacks. So makes him very, very strong, a big nuisance, and it kind of forces him to target him once he starts to get a little bit beefy. Sitting on almost 3,000 gold right now, a lot could be had. Like, Wit's End could be done. Where's that Frozen Heart? Frozen Heart could be done. Definitely enough gold for that. Tier 2 boots, very, very strong in him. Because for tier 2 boots, that's more movement speed means you can catch them with your ult faster. You can pull them further with your ult, especially with your W up. So, in terms of building, I would definitely want to go double gold per 10, and then right into tier 2 boots, whether it be Ninja Tabby or Merc Treads. There's a lot of CC, which this team kind of has, and a bit of magic resist, or magic damage, which they do. Definitely want to get the Merc Treads. Otherwise, if you see that they're a bit more auto-attacky or AD based, go with the Ninja Tabby. So you see now with this ward here, you know the Nivea's right there. That should be a pretty easy kill for you guys, even with her egg up. Waiting way too long to flash. I think you're overestimating your damage a bit, especially against 5 of them. Aegis. Very big European jungler item. I think it's very situational depending on what jungler you're playing. Like in a Mumu, very, very good item. Maokai, I don't know if it's as good of an item on Maokai because I think it's definitely better to go instead of Rod of Ages into an Abyssal Scepter. But the Aegis is a very, very big, very good item. Like Mundo very strong, Mumu very strong. Lee Sin can even be very good with that, but I think you need to pick and choose and not just right off the bat just by default get an Aegis. Because in Skarner's case, I think it's better to go, let's say a Shurelya's first, or a Glacial Shroud. Because with a Glacial Shroud, you get that enough armor so that you can tower dive comfortably. I'm going to speed through this a little bit more. Just going through some basic fighting. The ultimate should be up very, very soon, so he'll be able to get a kill and then land a pull if he's lucky. Not able to get the red fast enough. The Aegis does provide a lot of tankiness for yourself and a little bit more for your team. Going to the team fight, you don't really want to... If they're charging at you, no need to ult off the bat. You want to save the ult for when they're running away. I know I kind of sped through the team fight, but that's not as big of a deal.
An enemy has
But
been
when you are doing a team fight, if they're waiting to start and you have your flash and your ult, by all means, grab someone and pull them into your team. But if you see what they were just doing is they kind of ran in, they're running at you, get your slow off, pop your shield, just start spamming your Q so they get slowed, so it forces them to try to run. And then once they think they're getting back to their team, that's when you ult and turn right around. And that's what makes Skarner such a hassle for the other team. So stealing the jungle, getting the red buff going. I think it would have been better to donate to Caitlyn, but I guess she's not paying attention. Constantly getting that gold. Dragons and whatnot. Not seeing the timers on it, which you really want to get. I mean, an experienced jungler will pretty much know when the color buffs are going up. So if you know that you're not going against a very aggressive or no jungler, you can just kind of eyeball it. But big things like Dragon and Baron, I think you definitely want to get a little bit more of a focus on getting the timing down. And now we see the Shurelya's. Great pick. That is a fantastic item for Skarner. Health, which is huge for him. Cooldown reduction, also fantastic. The biggest thing is the speed boost, because that also scales with his W. So what you can do is you don't even need the flash anymore. You can simply Shurelya's in, grab someone, and W out. Definitely game breaking with that item. So we might be seeing a surrender very soon. Still very, very light on the wards, even after having so much gold. But it does appear that probably going to be going Frozen Heart. We see the Shurelya, so a more seasoned Skarner. Not one of the best, but definitely more seasoned. Would like to see the Shurelya's be a little more aggressively used instead of waiting for the team to try to run away. So I'm sure someone's going to be annoyed with me speeding through all these team fights, but I'm going just for an overall analysis. I'm not trying to be Freak or Ravington or something like that and give an in-depth, well not in-depth, but play-by-play analysis.
An enemy has been slain. Your team
But now you see here once again, have all the chance in the world to get a good fight going, but instead starting to run away. And you're pretty beefy. You got a pretty nice amount of resistances, a lot of health. 3,000 health at this stage of the game is quite a lot. You see an Anivia coming in, you know that you're stunned, even though it's the very end of the game. You just want to be spamming that shield because the stun is not going to last as long as Anivia needs when you have Merc Treads.
victory.
Anyway, I'm going to do a conclusion with my dog howling in the background. I'd say it's above average Skarner play, a little more, I think you have a lot of fine tuning to do, but I was a big fan of, what am I trying to say here? A big fan of you baiting fights and baiting kills, because you run there, take a lot of damage, the team would be like, oh, he's almost done, he's almost low, we gotta get him. But Skarner's kind of like Udyr in the way that, alright, you think you're gonna get him, bam, he pops his shield and kind of runs off and laughs as the other team starts picking off the enemy. So really nice knowing the limits of Skarner and building pretty much appropriately to the team comp and how Skarner should be played. So very nice game, and hope to see a couple more from you.